live, everybody. We're back on the Jits Guy podcast. It's been a minute. I had to reset my mind before we get rolling with this podcast, but I'm really happy to introduce my guest today. Guys, give it up to Mirella Atallah. Thank you so much for doing this with me, Mirella.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's an absolute pleasure to meet you because it's funny. As I started this podcast, I started with people I know. Then I started expanding to people I don't know as much because I want to uncover some information about the region. And the more people I meet, the more they introduce me to others and the story starts knitting. So after I spoke to Daniel Hilal, then I talked to Ghalia, then Tariq Sleiman, there's like this invisible string that connects all these people that trained in Lebanon. It's a really beautiful thing. So I'm very happy to finally meet you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here and to share my story with everyone.
Absolute pleasure. So just before going online live, you were telling me about your laptop and you're worried because it was part of the explosion. This is something very rare for people to hear even. And I wanted to ask you, were you in Lebanon during this whole madness that happened?
Actually, I arrived and after 2 days, the explosion happened. And I was in my room in the hotel because I was on quarantine for 14 days before I can see my family.
Oh my God.
And the explosion happened. So,
how far away were you?
Well, I think by car, I was in Sodeko. So by car, I think I was like 8 minutes away, kickboxing there.
Mm-hmm.
And I stayed in kickboxing for 3 years and a half. And I did like 6 months Muay Thai and I did some boxing. And after I was like, you know what? I really want to try jiu-jitsu. Like I was so impressed by them. I was like looking, I was like, I just want to try.
Wow.
I was so intimidated because I've always felt like I was the biggest girl in the gym. And I'm like, I can't do this. But one day I went to Firas and I asked him, I was like, I want to try jiu-jitsu. He's like, what's stopping you? I'm like, am I too big? He's like, no, you're not. I was like, okay. So the next day I go on the mat and I start. And since then I never stopped.
With the gi or without the gi?
No, I started no gi.
No gi, because like Firas and these guys, they focus on no gi.
Yes. So I started no gi for like because I did jiu-jitsu in Tristar for a year and I got my blue belt from Firas. But I think I did like 6-7 months, like it was pure no gi. So I was like a no gi person. And then one coach came from Brazil and he used to do gi and he's like, no, you have to try the gi. And I tried, and after 3 months training with him, I did my first competition.
Whoa.
And I was like, I love gi.
Okay. And how'd you do in that competition?
Well, he said that the third place was stolen from me, but I lost. It's okay. It's okay. It was a nice experience.
These bastards. We have to get into that.
Yeah.
So this is very interesting because most people start jiu-jitsu gi and then later in their jiu-jitsu they experience no gi. How did it feel transitioning from no gi as a beginner to gi as a beginner? Did it help?
It's very hard. Like getting used to the grips. Oh my God. Like I took me a lot of time to get used to the grips. And it's like for me, because like I wasn't, like you said, I was a beginner and I didn't have a game yet. And I was like so confused. Like, how do I hold? How do I, like in no gi, you don't hold. And then he's like, oh no, you have to take the collar. I'm like, okay. So it took me a while to understand the grips.
Interesting. And after you started gi, did you look back? Do you still train no gi or do you predominantly train in gi?
Well, I went into gi a lot.
Okay.
And then now I'm getting back to no gi. Like I have my eye on ADCC. So
nice.
Yes.
I'm so happy to hear so many people eyeing ADCC. Like it should be like currently there's a lot of organizations popping up. I haven't yet put my finger on something that's really going to last the ages, but ADCC has been around since 2000, you know, and I think it's the World Cup of Jiu-Jitsu, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I believe so. Because like,
yeah, it's like you have to do it. Like at least, like for me, at least try. Like,
I'm amazed by what you're saying. Because at what age did you start training Jiu-Jitsu?
What age?
Yes.
35, 36,
I say
37.
I asked this question knowingly, and as a huge compliment to you. And it makes me so happy because there's this mental block that people have that think age determines way more than it should. Yeah, sure, age has a factor. I'm not going to lie. But it doesn't determine as much as it does. And I really appreciate your story because I believe it can inspire so many people listening right now. Because especially ladies, all right, that discover jiu-jitsu later in their life, okay? Could be in their 30s, could be in their 40s, could be in their 50s. And they think in their head, this is a martial art, it's combat. مش لإلي, it's too late. No. Like jiu-jitsu, if there is a martial art that makes it possible, in my opinion, it's jiu-jitsu. Am I right?
Yeah,
as a woman.
100%.
Okay, like, why?
Honestly, for me, every time, like, the first idea, for me, nothing is impossible. If you put your mind into something, you just like, you go for it and you do it. Yes. So this is what happened with me. Like, I was like, okay, you know what? I love this sport. And whenever I'm on the mat, I'm not competing with anyone. I'm competing with myself. I want to be the best version of myself. That's the biggest problem. Is like whenever like girls, they go, oh, I got smashed. I got something. I was like, yeah. So you go back and you work on your mistakes. That's it. You don't get discouraged or demotivated. You just go back and work. And whenever I talk to women my age, I always tell them like, you have to learn jiu-jitsu for self-defense, and it's going to help you like on personality, and it's like it's very, very it's like I always tell my story to tell people how it benefited me and how I got a voice from jiu-jitsu. I didn't have a voice before, and I feel now I have a voice, and I'm not worried.
On a social aspect as well, you mean you have a voice?
Yes.
What is it? Because when I talk to people like this, I preach the jiu-jitsu gospel a lot as well, but I don't usually get positive. Like a lot of people think I'm just biased because I do it. But what is it you feel that makes it affect your social life? Because you're not going to go and fight people on the street. So why does it affect?
I feel like the minute you feel you can defend yourself and you feel you can protect yourself, you feel stronger. It comes from inside. If you feel you're going to be behind someone that's going to protect you, you're always going to be hiding behind someone. Yeah. So the minute you have that.
Very true. And you're not afraid of making mistakes socially anymore. Isn't it weird?
No.
I think the best example, and a lot of adults be like, oh, but they're kids. But I think it applies to adults. Kids, when they go to school, sometimes they start hesitating going to school. Like they get nervous and all this. I've seen my nieces and nephews go through that phase. And they're afraid of bullying, of kids judging them, of all of these things. So they start conforming to what the majority of the kids do so that they don't attract too much attention. Because when attention comes to them, it's the unknown. They don't know what will happen. Nothing might happen. But to them, it's the unknown, so they don't want to risk it, which is how most people live their lives. Afraid of the unknown, so I don't want to risk it. I don't want to be the nail that sticks out to get hammered in. Once he learned, my nephew, jiu-jitsu, all his favorite Harry Potter books started to go to school with him. All his geekiness and nerdiness came out. He stopped caring about all the other kids. I think it translates to adults as well. We have our geekiness that we're ashamed of or afraid, not ashamed of, afraid to show. And when we have jiu-jitsu, for some reason, even though we're not going to fight, it clicks and khalas. Now I can share that I'm not afraid of anybody, right?
Exactly.
It's a huge thing, and I like that you went for it. You didn't just like, well, let me do a few hip escapes and go home. You're competing.
Like honestly, like people who train with me know that I don't stop. I don't stop. Like I go like to morning class at 7 a.m. I don't have a car in Canada. I just like, if I don't bike in winter, I just go in the snow. I don't care. I go over lunch break. I train. Even when I finish work, I'm like back in the gym. I'm like,
that's the spirit.
It's not only that, because I feel like at my age, I need to work double the time that other like girls are working, and I need to improve because they can build muscles like faster than me and build like they're faster like in their moves. So I have to be technical. I need to like study my moves properly so that I can beat them. So
That's a cool mindset. Most people will tell you, because I'm older, I can't train as much. You're saying, no, I need to train double.
Yeah, definitely. And I start lifting weight now, and it's helping me like crazy. Like I advise everyone to lift weights.
Cool. So let me just get something straight. When did you train in Lebanon? Because like there was crossovers with Daniel and the guys, right?
Yes. I got my blue belt actually from Firas, and the same night I traveled to Lebanon. I came back home.
Interesting.
Yes. And so I was searching for a gym. I didn't know Daniel. And I was searching online. I couldn't find anything. And then I found one gym, and I went to that gym. And it was like one of the most horrible experiences of my life.
I've heard. Is it this like dungeon place that Daniel was telling me about?
I don't know. No. It's somewhere else.
Okay.
And then like these guys went super crazy on me, and they were like jumping, and I had my ribs like all blue for a week, and I was crying. I was like in pain. Then I was so depressed. And then I called one gym, and he's like, "Oh, you want to do jiu-jitsu?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "You call this guy." I'm like, "Okay." He's like, No, I'm serious. He's the best in Lebanon." I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna call him." So and then I called Daniel. And I didn't go to the gym at that time. I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna do that mistake. I'm gonna take privates with him. So I started taking privates with him, and then there was the Josh Hinger seminar in Lebanon.
Atos.
I went to the
Yeah, I remember that. Okay.
Yeah. So on that day, I met the team. I was like, oh my God, they're super cool. That's it. I signed up automatically.
Wow, amazing. I imagine Daniel during that time. Now he's a bit khalas. Now people come to him. I imagine him during that time as like the jiu-jitsu drug dealer. You know, the guy that like waits for you in the corner and it's dark and he's like, hey, you want some jiu-jitsu? And like, I can come to your bedroom. I can come to your salon. No problem. We can train. Like he tried so hard. You have to commend the guy for the effort he put to build jiu-jitsu in Lebanon. It's like gangster jiu-jitsu.
Like, honestly, for me, what was shocking is that when I called him and I said, I want to take private, he's like, no, come to a class. I'm like, but privates like pay more. Why you want me to go to that? He's like, no, come to the class. I'm like, no, let's take private and then I'll go to the class. For me, it was weird. And like, now I understand like his passion and he wants a team and all that. So
yes.
But back then it was like weird.
It's really incredible, the story about jiu-jitsu growing in Lebanon, because Lebanon was always like a Muay Thai, hand fighting, kick fighting kind of country. They didn't really appreciate too much grappling. Even judo and wrestling wasn't so huge there. But it seems to be turning around now with guys like Muhammad Fakhreddin and a bunch of the fighters coming out of Lebanon. In MMA, you need jiu-jitsu. So they're starting to reach out to these guys, these killers in Lebanon, these killers in Jordan as well for training. Yes. Have you interacted much with MMA fighters? Obviously in Tristar, but I mean in Lebanon.
No.
Okay.
No, because like I'm not very interested in it. Like I don't like to waste my time in other sports. I just jiu-jitsu mentality.
You're focused on your time. No, I get you absolutely. This is the thing. Honestly, I was like you, gi focused, but in the last year, I've dived deep into no gi. And I feel like it's just complementing my gi training. I feel most people in our region are not training as much no gi as they do in North America these days. Even Brazil is training gi predominantly. Yes. I think as a community, as jiu-jitsu practitioners, we should be at our belt level and both, not just gi and no gi. Do you agree?
Okay. I agree 100%. I train with a lot of Brazilians at BTT. So, like, honestly, in the past year and a half, I've only done gi.
Yeah. Gi is its own beast, and it's very addictive, and you have to get stuck in it, and it's really a different martial art. I almost consider, like, gi, jiu-jitsu as one thing, and then grappling as no gi. Because grappling, you introduce wrestling, you introduce some sambo, some other variations of things. But in terms of... Here's my take on it. When people train gi, what's the first thing that starts burning in competitions and the first thing that starts failing them? Their grips.
Of course.
Right? This goes to shit. And every beginner who's tried a competition knows exactly what I'm talking about. When you train no gi as much as you train gi, you switch the grips to joints. Yes. You start cupping rather than gripping with this. It's not like micro, let's say, motor skills. It's macro motor skills. And your game changes. you can variate between them to increase your cardio in a fight.
Yeah.
Get what I mean?
That the cardio thing is like, since I started doing nogi, oh my God, it's like, it's crazy.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
crazy.
And most people think it's because you're scrambling and going bananas. I get more tired in gi than no gi, because in gi there's the gi, it's slow. Every movement needs an explosion to get out everything. In no gi you can wiggle out. But what no gi taught me is to just use cupping, like to cup the elbow, to cup the neck, to hold when my grips are tired, to let them recover, and then I go back to grips. And that little small hack really helped my game in the last few years.
Yeah, I'm not at that level yet. Like I still like hold my grips, but sometimes like now, because like I'm trying like to switch, and like I hold the grip and it's like, oh no, I have to let go, and then I let go. So I'm like, I have to be very conscious about it.
Yeah.
It's like a habit.
It's definitely, if you can keep the grips, keep them. Don't switch, you know. But it's a nice little hack in order to maintain your cardio. I wanted to ask you about competing. So you said you had your first competitions 3 months into training. Did you keep competing, or did you wait a little bit after that?
No, actually, I competed after that time, like maybe once or twice, and that's it. And then I didn't compete. And then I competed once as a blue belt. Actually, I went to Turkmenistan with Daniel, like with the team, representing Lebanon. And that was it. And then I left to Canada. I went back to Canada, and 2019, this is the year where I competed like almost every 4 weeks.
After purple belt?
After. I got my purple. After 40 days, I competed.
And who gave you your purple belt? Was it Daniel or?
Well, it was like under Professor Andre Galvao, but like for me, it meant so much because it was from Professor Saeed and from Daniel, and it was in Lebanon. Like I was like, it was so emotional for me.
Yeah, one of the first female purple belts of Lebanon. Am I right?
Well, I don't know. I don't want to say it, and maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
I didn't say first Lebanese purple belt. I said first female of Lebanon purple belt, because like from Lebanon, right? Because they're kind of the hub of belt giving in Lebanon.
Yes.
Very cool. Okay, so here's the thing. I'm hearing this through UAE Jiu-Jitsu Federation, through IBJJF. They're looking at eliminating white belts in competitions and eliminating maybe even blue belts, starting only from purple, brown, and black. How does that make you feel?
Not happy.
Really?
Yeah, not
because you were someone that didn't compete too much before purple belt.
Yeah, but like it's like not about me. It's about like all the other, like for me, it's like all the other students that's gonna come out and want to compete. This is how you build up your experience. Like for me, my first competition was a disaster comparing to where I am now. It's very important that you build up the experience, and this is how you get better. Because like when you roll at the gym, it's completely different from when you are on the mat in a competition. It's like you have the adrenaline factor, and you have like the pressure and all that. Like you have to work on it, and you have to learn how to deal with it. So you either like know how to deal with it or you don't. So that's why like some people like competing or not. So I'm so against it. I don't think it's a good idea. Yeah.
Even white belt, you have no mixed emotions about it. You're fully set.
No. Even white belt.
I see.
Like,
I get
I'll
your
tell you
perspective.
what. Like we have a white belt, like a girl I'm training with here now, and she's super talented. And honestly, I can't wait to see her compete because I think she's gonna smash everyone. Whoa. So like for me, like this is not fair. Like she needs to compete, and I keep telling her, like as soon as COVID is done, you have to compete. So it's not fair.
I'm not saying eliminate all white belt, blue belts from competitions, and I don't think that's the point. I think for the like. Look at judo, for example. You'll never see a white belt competition in judo. Judo is just black belts, right? It's to maintain this level of prestige for the high level competition. To call it, here's something that I think about. Like when they say the world professionals, and then you have white belts. I get that you can be a professional white belt, and I respect that. But it opens up room for there's good experiences, and then a lot of bad experiences that come from competition. You know, injuries, a person like kind of losing heart too early in jiu-jitsu, realizing, because it's not everybody has a linear path like your student that gets really good quickly. Some people, it takes them up to purple belt maybe even to get good. So competing on white belt and blue belt might drive their focus away from what they should be doing, which is time on the mat. Because when you're competing, it's different than time on the mats. Because time on the mats is everything. It's learning, it's studying, it's helping others and sharing information.
But how would you test yourself?
Yeah.
You need to test yourself.
Open mats.
Open mats is not common everywhere, and it's not you don't get people from all around the gyms that comes and train. So that's gonna be.
This is
I honestly feel like everyone should compete.
Nice.
No exception.
What do you think? What do you think competition offers people, especially at the lower belts? What do you think is the gold that you get out of it?
For me personally, it was that okay, I can do this. I lost, but I was able to walk on the mat and face another person in front of me that I know nothing about. I don't know her game. I know nothing about. It's this hyped up adrenaline. I'm looking at her. I don't know what to expect, and I want to impose my game.
Yeah.
Even from the first time I competed, I got smashed and killed. But it's
I was the same.
It's this experience, this sense of okay, I don't know what's going to come out of this, but I have to do it. And you do it. And this is how you build up your personality. And it's it makes you stronger. It makes you want to go for it.
Absolutely. Let's take out jiu-jitsu and maintain that image of the competition, your first fight. In life, did you ever have any one-on-one competition event like that before?
You mean fighting?
Like boxing, kickboxing, whatever?
No.
Never.
Fought a person in the street or
No, I mean a confrontational situation, at the office, at work, at something.
Yeah. Yes.
All right. Did it feel similar to that?
Yes. That's why I said after jiu-jitsu, I have a voice. I can say things. I'm not scared. I'm okay, this is wrong and this is right.
Yeah. I believe the benefit of these competitions as well, more than just the gold and the medal. There's the athlete perspective, of course, but it's that to compete is to put yourself in that situation and prove to yourself that you can overcome, even if you lose. You got it out of the way. Build, repeat until you win. And that first win is incredible. Oof.
Best feeling.
People have to compete, and I don't believe they have to compete. I believe they have to compete until they get that first win, because that is the most important point in all competitions.
Yes.
So what was your first win? First match that you won? How did it go?
Well, actually, the first time I got gold, I was a white belt, and I was competing in Montreal, and my coach was in the corner, and he was screaming, and at some point, I stopped hearing him. Yeah. And then I was on top, I was mounting, and I was trying to go for an armbar or something, and then the referee is stops us, and I'm looking what happened? What did I do wrong? Why is he stopping me? I want my armbar. And then he's it's done. And then my coach is stop, go, tie your belt. I'm I didn't
Don't get disqualified.
Yeah. And then he lifted my hand. I'm oh my God, this feels right. I want this.
You just went for it. You forgot the coach, the ref, everything. You just went for it.
Yeah. Wow. I was phew. Yeah, I couldn't hear him. He was screaming and saying stuff. I didn't hear anything. I was just mounting, and that's it. I don't want to lose my mount.
Yeah. Wow. What an incredible story. This is the kind of thing that most people miss out on their entire life. And it's not to say that we have to fight and beat the shit out of each other. We don't have to put ourselves there, but to experience your raw ability to handle another human being, especially in a competition sense, I think it's part of being human. We have to experience that as people, as kids, as girls, as boys, in order to develop as individuals. There's so many people out there walking with inflated egos that have no idea what they're capable of, strutting. But they don't know that they would get, their head would bounce off the curb if somebody fought with them that knew what they're doing.
Yes.
I believe so much more people will be humble, kind, and nicer people if they knew how to fight, not more aggressive.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, big time. Big time, I agree.
I'm seeing some questions on chat, so I want to oblige. In Montreal, how big is jiu-jitsu? Is it as big in the UAE?
Well, we're not allowed to compete in Montreal, so
Why?
We're not allowed to have competitions. It's illegal. It's something about because they don't have
Wait,
We don't
COVID?
have.
You mean
No,
Corona?
not COVID. No. We're not allowed to compete. It's been like since my last competition. I think in um, 2016 was the last one. I think.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm not sure, but I know it's been a while because they don't have a doctor
A
on
sport
location.
commission?
Yeah, I don't know, like something about that, and like there's a lot of like lawsuits, and like
Oh
they're saying,
no.
oh, it has to be legal. So this is how we're gonna improve. Like we need to compete among each other so that we improve
Yeah.
all together, and then we can go and compete. So now every time we have to compete, we have to travel, and it's really hard.
But Toronto has, right?
Yes, but that's like 7 hours drive.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
so 6 hours.
so it's a Quebec thing. It's not a like Canada thing.
Yes, it's Quebec.
Very strange. I didn't even know about this. So there you guys go.
Yeah.
I find that very strange. Montreal needs to get their shit together.
Yes, I know. There's so many people are working on it, and I know a girl, like actually she's in the sports committee, and she said like hopefully they're working on a lot of like legal works, and she said like probably in a year or something. Like I know now with COVID everything is postponed, but she said like hopefully soon. She's
Let's
a black
hope so.
belt. She's amazing, and
Nice.
she's working on that. Yeah.
But I imagine that like the talent, because of BTT, because of gyms like Tristar, I imagine there's like high level jiu-jitsu in Montreal.
Yes, very, very high level people. Like I feel so blessed, like to be able to train there and like take this whole experience and like bring it like and try to share it with women. Not like the only thing I want to make clear is that the level in Lebanon is really high. Yeah. It's not that I went there and I got killed. It's just that I had more opportunities to train with women that are black belts and have more experience. And that's why my level like went up. And actually, when I went to Canada, they were all amazed, like, oh, good level.
Yeah. And here's the thing. I mean, lifestyles are different. We're just later in the cycle of jiu-jitsu. North America, I feel, okay, Canada's a bit behind the US, but it's definitely ahead of the Middle East. But look at the Middle East now. We're not only getting into jiu-jitsu at a good, decent level and people are training and stuff, but we're getting into jiu-jitsu at the right time. Yeah. There's so much available information. There's so many gyms that have opened trial and error, figured out how to transfer information. Because 10 years ago, jiu-jitsu would be like, you get one technique a day and then roll. Yeah. There was no structure. They didn't know about systems and systemizing positions and stuff. Today, everything's available. So I'd almost rather somebody start jiu-jitsu today than 10 years ago.
Yes.
Because they would save a lot more time.
Yes, I agree.
I think the lifestyle of Lebanon, most Arabic countries, will result in incredible jiu-jitsu within the next 5 to 10 years. Because Canada, their lives don't allow them to train all day long. Right? They don't allow them to train as much. In the Arab world, in the Middle Eastern world, we have some people that are willing to dedicate their entire day to these kind of martial arts. Daniel being an example, you know?
Exactly.
I can't wait to see what happens in the region. UAE, Lebanon, Jordan.
I had like, honestly, I can't talk about other countries, but I know about Lebanon. Like we have big plans and we
Tell
have
me more.
Like, yes.
Okay.
It's like I said, I'm so lucky to have Daniel and Professor Saeed. Like I'm like working with them, and it's like them being open-minded, and the three of us have the same vision and we want the same thing. Very cool. Like having, like for me, my main goal is to work with kids and women. And we need that, and especially in Lebanon, like especially now with what's happening, it's like you need to help these kids to go through all the bad things that are happening, and women, like you need to make them stronger. So for me, that's my main goal, and that's the thing that I'm working on now. Like I know everyone's trying to leave the country. I'm the only one who's trying to come back, and I'm so happy about it. I'm not even like hesitating, and I have a vision. In 2021, we have like a team of women, killers, and we're gonna go compete.
Amazing.
So this is my dream, and this is it. Like we're working on this, like having like training kids and training women. And Daniel will take care of the guys.
I'm sure he will. I'm so impressed with like the amount of passion and dedication you have for this. Like, it's converting. You're seeing what it did for you, and you want to share it with others. And I truly believe, I agree with you. Like, all the pain, all the things that people go through, jiu-jitsu is a genuine cure. Like, it really will help them deal with it. You also work. You have a professional career in digital marketing, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes.
Okay, so do you ever see jiu-jitsu being your career?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's like it's like I would never sacrifice a class for anything. This is where I know, like, okay, this is where I want. That's it. Like, I'm not gonna fool myself.
Yeah. I can absolutely relate, and I totally get what you're saying. Like, there's no place you'd rather be than the mats, and you're willing to teach 50 people than to do one digital marketing meeting with one person.
Yes, I hope my team is not like listening right now.
You know what? If they're listening, they'll be jealous and proud of you at the same time.
Yeah.
You know, because most people, they spend their entire lives looking for that feeling of purpose. And you found it, being Lebanese, being a person that fell in love with jiu-jitsu, and now you found a way to turn that jiu-jitsu into a way to support your own country and people. It's amazing. It's like you know, if the glove fits, you know, that's it. Like the O.J. Simpson quote, but it applies to this one. So sometimes we don't choose where our lives go. It kind of falls into place. And I think with a lot of us that got into jiu-jitsu, it falls into place, especially in the Middle East. We have such big room for growth, a huge generation that has so much potential and support, hopefully. So you're planning on creating a female national team, right, for Lebanon?
Yes.
Nice. Okay,
actually, like, what I want is that to have Lebanon as a hub. And have women come train. Like, for example, I know Rana from Rana Kubash.
Yes.
So it's like, we spoke, me and her, one time, and having like a big Middle East female training camp. It's like I want Lebanon to be that training camp. Like,
very possible.
Yeah, exactly. It's like getting all these talented women. Like, we have a lot of talented women, like in jiu-jitsu. Like, I don't know many, because like I didn't live in Lebanon for a long time, and I didn't compete for a long time, but I know there's many like very talented female jiu-jitsu out there, and I hope one day I'll be able to bring all of them, and especially like the people I train with in Canada. Like, my training partner, she's #1 female purple belt adult, and she's a killer. Like, I really want to bring her to Lebanon and like have like training camp here. And and that's the dream.
And that's the thing. It's very much possible. I think hopefully, like with all the recent events in consideration, I think within the next couple of months, when things resettle, Lebanon is such a beautiful place. The people are incredible, open-minded. And I think it's a great hub for martial arts, especially even for foreigners visiting. I think it's a great front for the Middle East.
I agree. I have a feeling that things gonna work out.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just dreaming. I don't know. I have a feeling that things gonna work out. I know, like at the end of the day, it's gonna rain, but after rain comes sunshine. So we have to keep believing, and we have to keep the faith, and like trusting that everything's gonna be okay, and helping things to get better. Not like telling people, oh, you need to leave or you need to travel, but like to leave the country. No, on the contrary, like you have to stay and fight for your country.
Yeah, I mean, every country in the world, let's think about it a little bit differently. Not to get too philosophical or political, but every country in the world has gone through times in history in which its own people would wish it would be burned from history. They just don't want to even look back and look at it. They're like, it's so bad, I wish we can just uneducate people about it. Every country has gone through it. US, UK, Russia, you name it. There's no country immune to this. So, unfortunately, sometimes has to get really bad before it gets really good.
Yeah.
Right? And I genuinely believe that there's no positivity, there's no benefit in people fleeing. Every country had to go through this bad phase, and people had to sacrifice. Yes, their lives had to happen in theirs. Oh no. But they rolled up their sleeves, shammaru, and they got that work done. Yes. And look where they are now. Lebanon, I've always said it, and if you watch my podcast with Daniel, I was saying it then, has the most potential of all Middle Eastern countries. I genuinely believe it, more than any Middle Eastern country, and anybody can quote me on that. in terms of people, the amount of history and shit they've gone through, the amount of religious tolerance that they've established over years of seeing what it leads to when there's no tolerance. It's not just haki. It's not just words. Like, they know what it leads to if you don't get along. So if they get all that shit sorted between the land, the beauty, the people, the culture, and the history, Jannah. It'll be special.
I know. And you know what's really amazing? Like, I traveled and I met so many Lebanese, like, in US, like, while competing and all that, and everybody loves Lebanon. And even like I met few guys, like, they were like second generation, they know nothing about Lebanon. And one of them actually had the cedar on his shoulder as a tattoo. And I was like, this is how much I love Lebanon. I was like, okay, so you have to visit, you have to represent your country, you're Lebanese.
Nice.
But like, even then, they don't know, and they love it. It's like, I feel like one day we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, look at the Lebanese population in Brazil, right? Most of my Brazilian friends and coaches, they know Lebanon more than any other country, even though they've never been there, because of the Lebanese in Brazil and in Canada and Montreal and stuff.
Yeah.
Lebanese people tend to be super creative, very mizu'in. They're known around the world. Like, it's not so they give off a good representation of their country. Now, let's just hope their country matches them, right? Because the Lebanese people really bistahlu the praise. It's just we need that country base to match with the people. I think somehow.
Like, I think we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. Let's stay positive and
yes, we will. I really believe so. So I wanted to go back to something. I like what you're saying about positivity, about keeping the faith, because I read an article about you. And part of you starting jiu-jitsu was a man whose name we shall not mention here, but somebody who told you that you couldn't do something. You were not flexible enough or some shit like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I was at the gym. Yeah. Okay.
So the reason I bring this up is because look at you now, purple belt, masters champion, IBJJF. Like, most people, they keep looking at themselves like, how can I ever be like that? You know? Even a fit person, like a woman right now that goes to the gym regularly and sees jiu-jitsu, like, I can't roll, I can't berimbolo, I can't delahiva. Obviously you can't, because you haven't learned it and you haven't tried.
Exactly.
So what do you have to say to somebody feeling like maybe jiu-jitsu is not for them, maybe their body can't do it, they'll never be able to do what they're doing? What do you have to say to them?
Like, for me, when I start, like, when someone comes and asks me that, I tell them one thing. I say, if I can do it, you can do it. It's like, it's not impossible. Like, I always, like, I'm not ashamed to show my pictures, like, where I was when I started and where I am now. It's not because I lost the weight. It's because of the dedication and the amount of years I spent trying and doing drilling at the gym and going to the gym, and the dedication I had. I show them this and I say, okay, if I can do it, and I was there and I had all these health problems, you can do it. There's no excuse. It's like, it's only in your mind. If you decide on doing whatever, X, Y, and Z, you'll be able to do it.
Yeah. I believe it. Like, I don't see why. And even, it's like you said, it's self-improvement, becoming the better version, not comparing. I think that's the problem a lot of people do, is we live in a time where everything's by comparison, like social media, even jiu-jitsu today. Most guys starting jiu-jitsu, they immediately open and they want to be the next Oliver Taza. They want to be the next Gordon Ryan. You know what I mean? It's, wait, you're going to get there.
Yeah, exactly.
Just let's first work on your mount. You know?
Exactly.
Like, it's got to start somewhere. And that's the whole point. I think a lot of people, it's amazing, Mirella, because I was doing the podcast, and Rana, I did a podcast with her. And because of that podcast, a young girl that never tried jiu-jitsu, was intimidated by it, started jiu-jitsu because she saw it on YouTube, right?
Wow,
and that means the world.
Of course.
That's how it works.
That's it. That's a win. This is how you win in jiu-jitsu. It's like, wow, you inspired someone. Like, how amazing is that?
Yeah, and who knows what this girl might end up. Maybe this girl will be a next Jordanian champion. Who knows?
Exactly.
And with you, it's the same. It's planting seeds, right? And doing what you're doing right now. And hopefully people listening can find out about you. And are you planning on living in Lebanon, or are you going back to Canada?
Right now, I'm going back soon. I'm not sure when, but soon.
Okay, nice. So in time for winter. So you ditched summer and you're going back in winter. Very smart. Very nice tactic.
Honestly, like, it wasn't a good summer. Like, we had a lot of rain. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Now my brother's in Montreal now. He lives there.
It's already cold, right?
It's okay. Like I saw some videos today. It was like nice, sunny, some clouds. But no, it's okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I miss Montreal. And this is the thing. Like I used to go to Montreal all the time. My brother and sister studied in McGill and Concordia. And I used to go all the time. And I never did jiu-jitsu. Like I want to, like I never even passed by Tristar. I want to hit myself on the
seriously?
head. Yeah.
Oh my God. Like you have to come and visit. It's it's really like the jiu-jitsu community in Montreal is amazing. Like it's very supportive, and it's like I feel that everybody like together, and we're like, and actually we have an open mat where everybody comes from all around the gyms to come just to train there, and it's like the most amazing open mat.
Wow. Now I'm looking forward to it, honestly. Like there's so much I want to do past this pandemic stuff. Like I know the world's opening up a little bit, but I'm genuinely worried about like October, November. I want it to تمشي على خير نخلص هالflu season and then hopefully travel again.
It's gonna be okay.
Do you come to the UAE for competitions often?
I've never competed in the UAE.
You got to change that.
Yeah, I know.
It's impressive. Like the competitions here, you feel the grandiose of it. It's very nice. I heard.
I really want to compete, but every time I plan something else comes and like.
And you're in Montreal, yeah.
It's really far. So and the national team, like the team was set from like 2 years ago. So I couldn't say like, oh, I want to go with you guys.
Okay.
Because we had like a Canadian national team that went. So.
But organized by the country, or you guys self-organized?
No, it's organized by the country.
Very cool.
It's like funded or something. Yeah. It's like from all around the country, not only from Montreal. It's like from Toronto, from Vancouver.
Wow. That's exciting. I'm happy to hear countries like officially recognizing jiu-jitsu and starting teams. Like, we're gonna see it improve a lot. Tell us about near plans. What's your goals for jiu-jitsu? What's your goals for life in the next couple of months? Are you gonna be competing? What are you gonna be doing?
I really want to do ADCC, so I was training for that, and I had a lot of plans to train here, but unfortunately, like this happened. So this is my main goal for now. Like that's my focus. Like I know the pans are set again in October, if I'm not mistaken, but I don't think I'm gonna go. It's like because every time we travel, when you go back to Canada, you have to quarantine for 14 days. And actually the police like calls you and you can't leave your house. So, and I have to work.
Canadians actually enforce what they say. That's what I like about
it. They're very strict. Like you don't want to mess with that. So it's like you have to quarantine for 14 days. So I think I'm going to leave all this time for ADCC and focus on that.
I get you. Now, hopefully it does. I mean, UAE said that November, they're planning on doing the World Pros again. But
nice.
If all things go well, Yani, but I think 2021 ADCC, I'm looking forward to that for sure. That's going to be a huge event, the Las Vegas one. But I wish you all the best. I really appreciate your time here with us. Your story is incredible. I hope it inspires others, but I hope you also, through what you're doing in your projects, reach out to a lot of people who need what you have experienced.
Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure meeting you, and hopefully we'll train some time in Montreal, Lebanon, all of it. Beyond Submissions, by the way.
Yes. Well, Beyond Submissions, like I'm very grateful for that brand and for that gym and for that idea. If you want
any inside information you can give us about Beyond Submissions Lebanon?
It's an amazing gym. Like one of the most beautiful gyms I've ever seen.
Which area? Can you tell me? Can you tell us?
I don't know if I can.
Oh no.
Maybe not now, off record.
Is it far from Ashrafiyeh?
No, it's not.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Good. Cool.
So
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, like you have to come here and train there. It's really nice.
I'm honestly, I feel like I've missed out on so much, even though I've been like jiu-jitsuing for the last 8 years. I feel like I haven't been doing anything because there's so many cool things I got to try. So definitely there. Thank you so much for your time. Hang in there just so we can wrap up. Everybody on YouTube, thank you so much for tuning in. There's everybody I see. Lina, Abi Hanna, Gabriel Al-Haj, Saud Atallah, Michelle Atallah, all your homies, all of them showing you some love and emojis and everything. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. Great podcast to come tomorrow. We're talking to the dark side of Jordan. All right. Hope you guys have a great rest of your evening. Thank you for tuning in. Much love. Wuss. Hope you enjoyed it.